Everybody, welcome back. We are in Essen. That's right, APN has gone across the pond to Germany, and I am back here with my friend Michael from Kosmos. Welcome, everybody. We're here. We're closer to your neck of the woods this time around.
Yeah,
when we were talking with Tom at Gen Con, we had a great time, but we are ready to roll for adventure today with you, Michael.
Yes, we are.
All right, so tell me a little bit about what we're getting into here. What's kind of the background for the game?
Yeah, Roll for Adventure is a fully cooperative tower defense game. So we've got an evil overlord, we've got the Master of Shadows sending all his minions to our lands and trying to defeat them. And we try to avoid that. And
we try to avoid
we don't really
demise.
like to be defeated. Depending on the difficulty level, you choose one of those missions. For instance, that's the Book of Magic, and you need 5 crystals for them. Those are the crystals, nice and shiny over here at the treasure box.
Treasure.
But they're not easy to come by.
Okay. And this is cooperative, so you're
fully
all working
yeah,
together.
There's no traitor.
Awesome. Now, it looks like we have lots of different... These are the characters that you are acting as?
Yes, each player's got a different character with one special ability. You got the go-getter, you got the healer, and we've got a ton of other characters in the game. So even if you've played it with a few of those characters, there's a lot of replayability because you can play it in a different style with different characters.
And it just depends on what everybody chooses.
Right.
So is each one of you running one of these towers, or are people drafting dice for everything together?
No, actually, in my turn, I roll my dice.
Okay.
So that's the go-getter. I roll my dice. I'll just check what I get, and I'm trying to get... those numbers here. For instance, that's the fortress, and for the fortress I need to achieve 4 2s, 4 3s, 4 4s. If I achieve that, let's just cheat a little bit. Let's say I rolled all of those 4s.
Right.
I'll place them here. If I don't manage to place it here, I just keep on rolling because I have to place all my dice.
Right.
So that's not nice, so let's cheat again. Let's say I placed it like that, so I can only apply one type of number. I can't place the 3 and the 1. I need to decide which to place, and then I have to re-roll. Let's cheat again. I'll paste the 2. So that's my turn over. No dice left.
So
Next
basically,
player.
you can only you place your matching dice.
Yep.
Wherever they can go, and then roll what's left, place your matching dice, and until you're done.
But you can still decide where to place it, because when I roll the dice, I got a couple of numbers and I got a couple of objectives. Because each area plays a bit different. Here you need to collect a lot of dice of the same value.
Right.
Here you need to collect, you get deeper into the woods, so you need to collect 6s and 5s to eventually reach the first barrier where you get your first crystal.
Now we're talking.
If you breach the fortress because the fortress is already taken by the enemy and you removed all of those barriers, you also get one of those tokens.
Okay.
The enemies come in after I allocated all my dice.
Great.
So after each player's turn, a new enemy pops up, say, hey, I want to invade your country. For instance, we've got this haunting ghost, which is going here, and it's trying to steal away dice from the fortress.
Oh no!
That one says it steals a 2, a 3, and a 4, if there would be already one. But luckily for us, we already achieved that goal. There's no die here at the moment, so he just steals a 2 and a 3 and throws them in the Maelstrom of Oblivion.
The Maelstrom of Oblivion? We haven't even gotten there yet. This is getting very serious.
Yeah, but it happens eventually.
What a name.
So that's where you lose your dice.
Oh God.
A lot of enemies pop up and you can defend them as well. Okay. In your turn, let's say that's Green's turn again, and he's got 4 dice left. He rolls that, and luckily for him, he rolled a 6. You can defeat an enemy by placing a 6 or more on it.
Guys.
And this enemy is defeated out of the game. Nice and easy. But if there are a lot of enemies and you don't roll 6s,
Then
you probably have
everybody's-
to allocate more dice to defeat that enemy, which is a bad thing because you need the dice for all the other stuff. You want to defend, you want to advance all those tracks at once and get those shiny little crystals to fulfill your mission before evil overlord pops up.
Now,
So
you're
there's a
saying
lot
a lot
going
of
on.
things, but I am very distracted by the fact that there are just casual skulls on the board. What's going on?
The cute little skulls of Doom. They're actually Doom trackers. Those tiny little skulls over here. They're kind of triggering the end of the game.
Okay.
The closer they get to the end of that track, the closer the end. Because
Is
if
coming.
any of those skulls reaches this space, instant game over, you lose. Over time, more and more enemies pop up and they say, hey, there's another bad and stealing away dice if there are any. If there are none, right, like now, that track advances by 1. So you always want to keep at least 1 die per
On
area.
every-
So in case an enemy pops up and steals a die, he can. Because
So
if
it's
he
almost
can't,
like
that
sending
track
your
waits.
workers, your drafting dice to kind of protect the towers even a little bit.
And you have to balance that. So it's a bit of mixture between defending the enemies, keeping at least 1 per area. So it's always a bit of a decision where
There are a
to
lot of
place all those
decisions.
dice.
Yeah, I mean, that's-
it's a simple game. It's
Yeah.
easy to play, easy to grasp. You play it in 30 to 45 minutes.
And we set it up so quick too. I mean, it was
Definitely.
set up
You can
in like
set it up in
3
5 minutes.
Yeah.
The longest time you'd need to take is actually decide which character you want to
Yeah.
play.
There's one dice we haven't talked about yet,
Right.
and I'm kind of afraid of it because everything else has been terrifying. So
Yeah,
tell us
well,
about this.
That's a shiny little die of doom, I would say, because it only comes into play when the evil overlord comes into
Appears.
play. Appears, yes. That nasty little bugger actually first activates all the enemies. He says, hey, go attack again! And they're motivated because he's their
God.
boss. And then he rolls this tiny little die with the shiny thermal printing on it.
Ooh.
And whichever area comes up on top actually advances by 2. Even worse, if you roll this one, all areas advance by 1. And if you're really lucky, it's chance 1 out of 6, nothing happens. He says, hey, I want to play a bit more with you guys, like a kitten playing with a mouse.
Yeah.
You know?
So with tower defense, I'm more familiar with that in, a video game setting.
Yeah,
So
right.
when we're looking at a board game tower defense, I mean, what does it feel like? Does it feel like other games that are out there? What are the influences?
Well, you could say it's got a mixture between Shadows over Camelot, Ghost Stories, but it's actually simpler than that. So it feels more like a fantasy version of Yahtzee because you're collecting all those sets and dice straight or a couple of same numbers. But with all those enemies closing in, which you
Converging.
need to defend. So it's a simple game, but difficult to win.
Yeah. Okay, so if I want to sit down and play this, do I need all 4 towers, all 4 players, or what's the situation there?
You can play 2 to 4 players. You need to set it up like that.
Okay.
And if you play with fewer than 4 players, you get neutral dice.
Okay.
So you just reallocate the not played color and distribute them after a certain system.
Okay, so when are we going to start seeing this in the States?
It's Gen Con time next year. Gen Con 2019. Yeah, and really excited about it.
Absolutely.
Oh, and there's
please.
one more thing. There's not just replayability with different characters, there's also replayability with a B-side.
Tell me that there is another side.
Yeah, there is another side which plays a bit different, and mostly the B-side is definitely more challenging. So if you've already beaten the game on
on
easy
a normal
level
mode, then you can
after
turn
a
it
couple
up.
of games. You can make it harder. You can mix and match all the sides, whatever you prefer. And you can also include, let's see, where have I got them? A couple of new enemies which make the game a bit harder, like the dragon, the phantom. They all bring some new mechanics to the game.
Awesome.
Not entirely new, but they make it also more challenging. So if you want a real hard game, just include a couple of those enemies and play on the B side. Will take a while to win.
Well, this has been so fun to learn all about Roll for Adventure. Michael, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome, and it was a pleasure to be here.
If you are at Essen, if you have rolled for adventure, we want to hear about that in the comments. So go ahead and tell us what you thought of your tower defense challenge
Please do.
experience. And of course, you can always find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ActivePlayerNetwork. You can find us on Instagram at ActivePlayerNetwork. And you can also join our discussions on Twitter at ActivePlayerNet. So come find us there, and we'll see you next time on Get the Game.